still like cleaning my house, but I'm getting ready to get a cleaner. But and
I'm
I'm not a
not
big I'm not a
if
big
that
traveler.
okay.
So and if I do travel, we go to an Airbnb down south. Like we're riders versus flyers. So my
So
travel experience, yeah, everybody else's might be big, but mine is kind of low. Like we could do a nice 7 and 8 day vacay somewhere for about $4,000. Um, and that's like for us, we're not real big and frilly, so we're like a very comfortable reserve family. So that's my number. um the investments in wealth, I wasn't too clear on what I wanted to do because I have a child in college now. We took out her 529, so I'm trying to like rebuild that back up. I have a son that's going to college in about a year, and then I am working aggressively to save for my retirement because I came out of the workforce and have been an entrepreneur now for almost 20 plus years, and I didn't realize the importance of saving for retirement until later in the game. So that's just transparency for me. Anybody else in that boat, we gotta save for retirement. So I put 1,500 for that number. And then the giving and legacy, I put I want to do more, but I have 300. And
okay.
that's a little bit that really just, I mean, if I just put a number on it, it's about, I mean, up that. I'm gonna put 500 because
Okay.
really that goes to my church,
Okay.
and that's it. So my legacy lifestyle number. Hold on, I didn't do that total. 35. Wait, I said 4,000 plus 1,500 plus 500. Wait, that ain't right. Hold up. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a little slow with my calculator. Four,
That's okay.
five.
I feel like you're showing people what the exercise looks like.
Oh, okay. I didn't plan on it, but okay.
That's okay.
Ooh, my legacy lifestyle number is $6,000 a month. Now,
Okay.
I don't know how I'm gonna get to any of these numbers. That's
That's
why that's why I'm working with you. I'm like, how do I get there?
that's so I love that you said all that you said because a lot of times that's what happens. We calculate this number, but it's like I don't see it though. That's okay for now because what we're going to talk about today, and I'm never simplifying things to make it seem like all you got to do is, but the number is first. Until we calculate the number, we have, like, I feel like we're just working. If we just keep working and we start feeling like we're not getting anywhere. But if we're clear about, if about 6,000 is your number, the first one was about 13,000 for the
400.
business, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start to understand what those numbers are, then we can look at, well, what is our business bringing in? How far away from that number are we? And what do we need to do? And I preface that first because tonight we're going to talk about the leaks, the revenue leaks, and like,
Mm-hmm.
how come we're not bringing in the money? Do we need to do something differently? It just helps us kind of frame out what we need to do a little differently. That's it. So once we're done tonight, right? If there's more questions, like, okay, I want there to be questions, because we're digging deeper into the business and we're not talking surface anymore.
Okay.
I had a conversation earlier today. We were going through someone's P&L, and they're just like, my P&L says one thing, but that's not what I'm seeing, and that's usually what happens. And I'm like, we got to sit down, look at our numbers. What is it telling us? What do we need to do? And that's really the goal. That's the goal.
Okay.
But I love that you did the homework. You got your numbers. We're going to figure out how far off you are and why. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for
Okay.
sharing. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Ah, anybody else? Were you able to play around with your numbers? Did you get one or both? Let me see who. No. Did anyone have questions, or were you stuck on something? Y'all not gonna be quiet on me tonight, are you?
I was on that triangle sheet. I probably was just doing what I wanted to do. But I was on that triangle sheet putting the numbers in. Are we supposed to put some of them in manually? Because it didn't look like it was just rolling over like I was expecting it to.
Yeah, you typed it. You typed everything in.
Yeah, I was typing it in. I was just expecting it to roll over.
It
Like,
should have.
okay,
It didn't.
I'll go back and I'll re-download it. I probably did something wrong.
So what we can do, if you don't mind, even if we play with some numbers, we can pull it up and we can do it live a little bit
Okay,
once we
I
do
just
the
wanted
iron
to make
triangle.
sure it was supposed to be doing that. Um,
It,
I
it
think
should have
it did
rolled
say
right
that.
over.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay. Okay. We'll take a look at it. All right. Yeah. So Antoinette is talking about so VIP got it was the actual calculator, which you put your numbers in there and it's gonna calculate for you and kind of say, well, you said your capacity is this, here's where your current enrollment is, and it's basically telling you to take a look at these parts of your childcare business to tell you why you're off a little bit. So we'll take a look at it live. Okay. All right. All right. Let's get ready to jump in. Thank you all for joining on a good Wednesday evening. It's been a long day, but so I'm so grateful that y'all showed up. First, I promised it's different people on each call, so I am not sure who's on here, but I promise that for those of you who went back in and did the quiz, that I will put your names in here. So I'm going to run it. I'm gonna run it. Let me share my screen because I like to do what I said I'm going to do. Uh, and we said no judgment zone, right? Because don't mind all my tabs. I always have a bunch of tabs up. All right, so here are the names of those who completed the quiz, and let's spin it. Oh, I don't think I see LaRonda. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Uh-oh, let's see. Oh my gosh. Let me see if who's on here who did it, and we're just gonna choose because Deandra is not on here either. Let me see. I'm steady talking, and I was on mute. Did y'all not? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, 1 second. All right. I'm sorry, guys. My daughter was coming in the house. All right, let's get started. We're just going to choose someone and we'll give you the gift. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to jump into day two. All right. Let me share my screen. All right. Everybody can see my screen? Why does that say day three? 1 second. Okay.
This is your mail.
Thank you.
Oh, here. Yeah. And these are the tickets, two of the tickets.
Thank you. All right, there we go. Day two. That's okay. All right, welcome to day two. We're going to jump right in. All right, day two, we're talking about, we're actually going to look at our numbers today. We're going to dig into the iron triangle. So, where did we leave off? Yesterday, here's what we talked about. If you missed it, no worries. We did already send the replay out. So check that out so you can definitely calculate your numbers as well. That's a really important part of this challenge. We calculated our freedom number. We talked about the provider trap. Yesterday was all about the childcare CEO mindset shift that I truly believe we need to spend time on, because again, we can get all the money we say we want, we can get the enrollments, but if we have not shifted how we operate as childcare owners, as CEOs, then we're going to keep staying in the same space. Like, we have to make the shift. So that's what we talked about. And then, just like Coach Kelly shared, we calculated our numbers. And so I did ask you to bring some numbers with you tonight. And I hope you were able to do that, or maybe you know what your numbers are. Current enrollment, license capacity, and your average weekly rate. Because by doing that, it allows us to complete the iron triangle for your business. And I don't want to just keep giving like generic numbers. I want you to be able to plug them in so that you have an aha moment tonight. All right? All right, let's jump into it. Okay. How many of you are familiar with the iron triangle? You can put in the chat, yes, no, just so I get a sense of how many know what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about it either way. Hey, Mercedes, yes, you know what the iron triangle for sure. Hi, Swansea. No. Okay. All right. All right. We're jumping into it either way. So let me tell you what the iron triangle is. Let's see. All right. So as you can see on the screen, iron triangle is basically, it tells us where our business may possibly be losing money if we don't fully address each area of the iron triangle. Okay. Sometimes when we're having financial issues, or we feel like we're not bringing in all the money we should, or when we feel like we don't have the cash flow, sometimes the issue is the iron triangle is broken. The iron triangle says if these three things are true, then typically we should be able to cover all of our expenses and have a profit. All right. So let me tell you what it is, and then we can have a better idea. So I see someone says home based. This is applicable for any type of childcare business. Home based, center, group. This is true for all childcare businesses. So there's 3 points on the triangle, and there's 3 different areas that we look at. We look at 1, enrollment. Are your seats full? And if it's a no, then this part of the triangle for you may be broken. Maybe that's why you're not able to cover all your expenses. Maybe that's why you're not able to pay yourself. Maybe that's why, you have to kind of wait until subsidy pay to kind of feel some relief. So enrollment, you want to be full. I understand in this day and age, it's not necessarily true 100% of the time, but if that is the issue, then we know that's where we need to put all of our energy, all of our time, and our resources. Okay. The other part of the iron triangle, or a second part, is collection. As you can see at the right bottom of the triangle, it says, are you collecting what's owed? If you are not, then that part of the triangle is broken. What does that mean? You are losing $5 every week out of the money you are supposed to be collecting. If a family is always late and they're not paying their tuition, and next thing you know, they left, you lost money. So it's basically an area of money leak because you're not getting all of the money that's owed to you. So collection is another part of the triangle. The final part of the triangle is rates. Are you charging enough? Right? So what that says, and I give this story all the time, When I came into the business, my mom said, all you have to do is charge whatever the state says that they're going to pay. So if the state says that they're going to pay $150 for every child, what I learned when I first came in, just charge $150. The problem with that is it's not necessarily based on my business. That's just what the state is going to reimburse me. If I have master's degree teachers, if I have teachers who have been employed for or have 15 years of experience, if I have high mortgage, if I have high utilities, that $150 may not be covering all of my expenses. So if I have not calculated how much it actually costs me to care for the children, then I may not be charging enough by saying $150 is enough. That's what that means. So we have to make sure. So you said you charge the same rate for all ages. So I love that you made that comment. The thing is do we know if that is enough to cover all of your expenses and to provide a profit? And so until we look at each area of this triangle, we may not know what the bottom line issue is in our business as it relates to the finances. Each of these areas need to be true. They need to be a yes in order for us to say, you know what? My iron triangle is ironclad. I already know that all of my seats are full. I'm collecting all the money that's owed to me every single week, every single dollar. And I know that I'm charging enough because I calculated how much it costs me to care for infants, for young toddlers, for older toddlers, for preschool, for school age. And I calculated the numbers so that when I make my tuition rate $330 per week, I already know that the expenses are at $280 and everything above that is a profit. That's what it looks like when we look at the financials in our business. We don't just pull a number out of our hat. We don't just charge what the neighbors charge or the people down the street, because I don't know what their employees look like. I don't know how much their payroll is. I know how much mine is. I know how much my rent is. I know how much my utilities are. So I can't copy them because we are not the same. We have a smaller group tonight, so I'm going to put it out there and say, is there anything that doesn't make sense? Is there a question? Because this part is really important to understand. Okay. All right. Everybody's good? All right. Okay. All right. So that's the part we want to answer for ourselves. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Uh, I agree with you. I agree with you. Mercedes is saying this information needs to be given during orientation, because I still remember when we were first opening, or I would hear people say, oh, okay, I want to have a facility that lets you have 50 children, and they will multiply the 50 times $200 tuition rate, and they're like, I'm going to have a six-figure business right away. That is not the case. So we need to be able to understand these numbers and calculate them so that we can be really clear about what it takes to run a business. So let me give you some examples. I like to give examples because we have family childcare on here. We have small centers. We have mid-sized centers. And so I want you to see what it looks like as a real example. So follow me and pull out your calculator so you can do the numbers too. I want you to get it so that even when we're not on this call, you can do this for yourself. Okay? All right. So what's the cost of empty seats? Now, this is a part of the triangle at the top when we were talking about enrollment. We need to calculate the cost of us having an empty seat, even one. I don't care if it's one, know how much it costs you. Okay? So if you look at the top up here, it says empty seats, for example, 10. If you have 10 empty seats and your weekly rate is $285 per week, we're going to multiply the two. And then we're going to multiply that number by the number of weeks that you operate. So how many weeks does everyone operate? Do you operate 50? Do you operate 51? Do you operate 52? We need to know how many weeks we operate and calculate exactly what it would cost if 10 seats were empty. So if you do this calculation, again, you're going to multiply 10 times 285. That's $2,850. And then multiply that by 50 weeks out of the year. And if those 10 seats stayed empty all year, there's an annual enrollment leak of $142,500 per year, just from those 10 empty seats. Think about how many seats you have empty if you have two, then do this for you. If you have two empty seats times your weekly rate times how many weeks you operate, that's going to tell you how much money you're losing by that seat being empty throughout the year. So there's more examples below. If you're a family childcare and you have a max of 12 slots, you have 3 empty seats, you could fill in your own weekly rate. You can see how much you're losing per week, how much you're losing annually. Is this saying that you just don't care? Nope, because I told y'all this is not judgment. This is allowing you to understand that empty classroom that's closed, how much money is lost because it's not filled. The reason I'm sharing it is not to say, well, it's not like I'm not trying. I'm sure you're trying, but maybe you're putting energy into other things that's not as important as these 10 seats that are empty. Because we don't want to lose $142,000 per year because we still have to pay our rent or mortgage. We still have to pay utilities. We have to pay staff. Like, we're still paying all of these expenses, but we're not bringing in the revenue that we could. And so maybe where we put our energy is towards marketing. Maybe we put our energy towards going out in the community. We just need to be clear that we want to reduce this gap. Okay. So I want to make sure each of you can calculate your number. Any questions about that before I move on? This is an enrollment leak. Okay. All right. So how else do we have money leaks? So we talked about the enrollment part. There's also other areas that we lose money where we're leaking. When we allow late tuition, right? Maybe we're not enforcing it at all. We're just like, yeah, I'm full, but we're trying to figure out why we don't have enough money. Well, if there's people who are not paying their tuition on time and they leave after 6 weeks, that's how you lost hundreds and thousands of dollars because you did not collect your money on time. Another area is informal payment arrangements. You know what? I'm gonna pay you Friday, right? And they have this flexibility because they know the policies don't stand. Or there's no written tuition policy at all. So they're just like, I'm just going to see how long it lasts. And listen, I have always been the nice provider. I don't handle finances anymore because I am very nice. And so sometimes that being kind costs you. And it could cost you $7,400 per year on average, depending on how much money you're losing because we're just not enforcing. This speaks to the collection rate part. If we're not fully collecting all of our money on time, every single week, every single child, you are losing money every week, every single week. And so the idea that, well, we're underpaid and, well, the state, they need to pay us more. And all of those things are true, but we're also not doing everything that we should be doing in our business. Because I promise you, Pico is getting their money every year, right? They do not care. They're not very nice, right? PGW, well, that's our gas company, our electric company. I get all my invoices from everybody every month, and they don't care about what happened last month. They don't care about the parents that didn't pay. They do not care. And we care, right? I'm not saying that we don't care. We do care, but sometimes we care so much that we're putting our businesses in jeopardy. Okay. That's the whole point, Coach Kelly. We want to see our leaks. Y'all, it hurts. It hurts. I shared this before I move on to the next screen. I'm doing this too because I'm really, really urging you guys to calculate it seriously. One year, I'm going to tell you what happened. This is why I can teach it. I told y'all I teach what happen to me. One year, too many times I realized that we went and looked at our subsidy paperwork. What do you call it? The monthly invoice, right? And it showed a couple families that wasn't on there. Like, I saw that we had all these kids, but then when I looked at the invoice, it wasn't matching. So I'm like, I'm going to sit down and I'm literally going to study all of my invoices. I'm going to look at all of my co-payment rates. I'm going to see if my systems match. And I wanted to do the calculation for a reason. I saw that we had kids who were coming that were dropped from the subsidy program, which means they were not getting paid for. They'd been there a couple months. I saw that we had families who their copay used to be $5, now it's $60. We didn't catch it. They still had been paying $5. I noticed that we had families who were paying private pay, but they were behind. And so I intentionally calculated it to the dollar because I wanted it to hurt. And it was, it was like $20,000 that I calculated for the year. That's why I called it $20,000 lead, because I know it was $20,000. You can ask my team. I'm not making it up. And I wanted it to hurt so bad that I didn't allow it to happen anymore, because I also knew that there were times I didn't pay myself. I knew that it was times that I said, Mom, like, we cannot go in payroll. There were times I went without, but I let $20,000 not get collected from people that I know they were getting their nails done. They had a new car. I had one parent come in. He had a brand new pit bull that he had bred. I'm like, they cost thousands of dollars. Like, they do it in our face. And I was like, I will not do it again. So please, I'm serious. Please take the time and calculate these things and go and look at how much money you may be losing, because that may be the answer to some of the struggles you may be having. You might have the money sitting right in your program. Okay, that's why I'm saying it. Listen, Zelinda, I'm telling you, I know. It hurts. It hurts. So let it hurt you. Let it hurt you so that it changes how you run the business. Okay. So the other part of the triangle that I mentioned was around your rates. So this question is asking you, are you underpricing your value? So here's the example that is giving. So if you're underpriced, this is just an example. Maybe you're charging $220 a week. I'm giving an example of a program that has 45 children and they operate 50 weeks. They have a revenue of $495,000 per year. If this program were to say, you know what, I'm going to charge the market rate, I'm going to match what subsidy pays. They actually pay $285 a week. So I'm going to change my rate from 220 to 285. Just that alone will bring in almost another $140,000. Now the revenue for the year could be $641,000. If this program dared to charge how much they are actually valued at or how much they're worth, meaning my teachers have degrees, my teachers have experience, we've been doing it for 15 years. We are a high quality program. We offer quality meals, right? If they looked at the value that they bring to children and families and they charged the actual true cost of care with profit added in there, now they're charging $325 per week and their revenue went up to $731,000. So this is just an example. Again, I'm not trying to show you large numbers to make it sound cute. I want you to put your numbers in there so that you can really compare. Well, I'm charging 220. I've been charging that for 8 years. I didn't even look at how much the market rate is. Even if I match that, I'm bringing in more money. Trust me, I'm not suggesting that you charge market rate. I'm suggesting that you calculate your real cost and you add in a profit and you charge how much you really need to be charging. I'm going to make one more disclaimer. I am not making it sound like it's easy to just raise your rates. I'm not telling you next week raise your rates $100 a week. I'm not telling you that. I am saying though that I'm asking you to please calculate how much it actually costs you to care for the children, and dare to put a profit in there. Because if we just charge the bare minimum, we're only meeting expenses, maybe. Because as soon as you have a child drop or a family of five, now you don't have the same revenue and you're not covering your expenses. So we don't want to keep just operating at a break even point. We want to make sure we pad in a profit, because I don't know about y'all, but the electric company went up, food costs went up. Things are increasing, but if we're not increasing, then we're starting to just eat all the expenses, and that's why we're struggling. So all three of these examples are the iron triangle. Are you charging what you need to charge? Are you collecting all your money? Are you fully enrolled? Okay. All right. I see something in chat. Okay. California changed their rates every June. Listen, and the thing is, we're entrepreneurs, guys. Like, we have the right to do whatever we want to do, but sometimes I think we get comfortable and we get scared. And we talked about that yesterday. We get scared to increase our rates because we feel like families are going to leave. But the truth of the matter is, we're shooting ourselves in the foot by just saying, I'm scared to change the rate. They might leave. But we're not scared for our business to be in jeopardy, or we're not scared to not pay ourselves and we can't make our mortgage. We just don't want to be fear led. That's what I'm saying. Let's have real data so that we can make true business decisions instead of running off of our feelings. That's all I'm saying. All right. All right. Any questions? Anybody have a question, or you're unsure how to calculate your, or even look at the iron triangle for your business? We have the opportunity because it's a smaller group. No? Okay. All right. All right. So staffing. Staffing is one of the biggest investments in childcare, in running a business. A lot of times, if you have a team, it costs a lot of money. I know it's our biggest expense, and it also can be your biggest leak. So tonight, remember, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about finding what's leaking in our business. So here's some statistics. You know, I like to give you real information. It costs an average of $4,800 to replace one child care staff member. That includes, we have to recruit them. You know, we're spending all this money on ZipRecruiter, and Indeed. We have all this money we're paying for them to try to recruit. We didn't add that up. Make sure you add that up and see how much you're spending. We have to onboard them. Hopefully you are doing that, because that's an important part of bringing in new staff and keeping them. We have to have coverage so that we can train them. Sometimes it costs us when we don't have the staff, and now we got to pay people. We got to pay them overtime, all this stuff. And then there's lost productivity. I done spent all this time preparing the packet. I did all this stuff, and now they're gone. So we've kind of put out an average of $4,800 because they left out the door. So if that's one person, imagine how much it costs to have turnover for 3 or 4. So we want to plug the leak of trying to reduce the amount of staff that turn over. We don't want the people who are not a good fit for us. Let them go. They cost you even more than that. But we don't want high turnover. Okay. Another one, 41% of childcare staff leave within 12 months. That's far exceeding most industries. There's a lot of turnover. So we want to reduce that percentage in our own personal programs. I don't like a lot of turnover, right? I start to take it personally, honestly, even though it's not always about me. Sometimes it's not a good fit. Sometimes they just don't want to be in childcare anymore. Most people that leave my programs, they are not going from childcare program to another childcare program. They're like doing something totally different. They might be a one-on-one. They might be going into nursing. That's a life change. I get it. Okay. $38,000 is the average annual staffing leak for a 50-seat program with 3+ staff departures per year. That's how much we're losing a lot of times. So we want to just be mindful of how much money is being lost as it relates to staff. And I have so many examples I could be giving. I talk about it in other webinars I do. Look at your payroll. How much overtime? Did you authorize that overtime? How many people are there early, leaving late? How many are not doing anything during planning time? How many people do you have at the beginning of the day? You have 6 children, but you have 4 staff, right? Like those are ways that we're just spending money and we're not paying attention as it relates to staff. 23% of childcare programs payroll is overtime. That's what listen, I look at my payroll all the time and I'm like, ma'am, I'll send them an email. Excuse me. I noticed that you worked overtime this week. I didn't authorize it. Do you need to talk about, is there any support that you need? Or do we need to discuss what you're not able to get done during your shift? Because there's no reason. My staff get planning time, like there's no reason they should be working overtime and it costs me money. So just pay attention to your staff, pay attention to the hours they work, pay attention to the roles you have. Sometimes we have too many people. I am about to make a shift on my team. After the pandemic, we added additional positions. I really don't think I need them anymore. So I'm going to be making some shifts. Okay. Antoinette, that's it. It is stealing. It is stealing. I love that you put that out there. Please know that they're stealing our money. They're sitting on the clock. You're absolutely right. All right. So here's another one. If families can't find you, you don't exist. This is when we talk about marketing. For years, I did not have a marketing budget. I was like, referrals, that's our marketing. And it still is, but we still have to stay present in front of people, especially now. There's so much competition, so many childcare programs on every block, right? We have to stand out. And so we don't want to just keep doing the same things we've been doing forever. We have to switch it up and make sure we're constantly in front of people. So some of the leaks, these really are leaks, not having dedicated marketing budget. So we have all these things that we're paying for. We might need to shift some of that money. For example, at some point, I'm like, I'm not going to keep buying these toys and all this paper. And, you guys keep using all these supplies. I'm spending all this money in the supplies area. I could reduce that and put that towards marketing. So take a look at your budget and say, you know what? Maybe that doesn't make sense anymore. Maybe we're going to start asking our families to donate their old cereal boxes, donate button-down shirts, donate neckties, and no longer buy dramatic play clothes. Like, I don't know. Personally, I like authentic clothes and I like authentic dramatic play. So let's just get donations. Get it for free. We throw away all kinds of boxes all the time. I like diversity. Our programs are really diverse. So I love when families from other cultures bring in food items or food boxes or cultural clothing that's authentic. So maybe we can reduce that budget and put that into our marketing budget and make sure that we're seen. So that could be a leak. No clear brand differentiation. Families really can't explain why you're better. They're just like, they're close. They're just close to us. No, I want them to know that even if they move, you still want to stay at my program. Okay. So we want to differentiate ourselves. That could be for free. It might cost a little bit. Constantly let people know, here's what we do. Here's who we are. We have a couple staff that graduated. I'm definitely going to let my families know that. Do you know how many people just graduated from my program? I want them to see it so that if and when my prices increase, they understand, well, we just had a couple more degrees come in. We just had another year that was added to all of our teachers' experience box. So make sure you differentiate yourself because, yeah, they can go down the street, but they're not going to get the same quality level. And maybe they are, but they're not the same as us. So let them know that. Not tracking what's actually working, right? You're spending time, but you can't really prove whether it's driving enrollment. When you're having tours, ask them, how did you find out about us? Ask them how their experience was at the end of the tour. Find out what's working. If you have an ads budget, if you're doing particular marketing, see what worked, what didn't. If you're sending out mailers, see if you see a return on that investment. Antoinette and I was just talking about that prior to the call, right? We don't want to keep spending money on one thing and not know what's working and what's not working. Because if it's working, I'm going to keep doing it. We just went old school a little bit and we put our flyers in the supermarkets, right? Because you never know whose eye is going to catch. I don't know about you guys, but we just had an influx of infant inquiries. We are packed. We went through months of not having any infants. So keep an eye out. I feel like people are people are having babies again. Okay. So if you start to notice that, then start to market directly to that age group. Okay. Uh Zelinda, I'll take a look at that. I see you had a question. Inquiry response time. If it's a long time, you may be leaking money because you might have people who are inquiring about your program, but you never called them back. You never followed up. Uh, I remember my team used to, people would come in, we would make packets on packets on packets, just copy the packets. And people would come in like, I just came in for an application. Can I have a packet? And we would just give it to them. Then I started thinking about it. That that is literally possible money walking out of the door. We have no way to follow up with them. We have no way to know, like, are you still interested? Well, what happened? You came and got a packet. Like, we are not just giving stuff away anymore. We have to make sure that we have a waiting list, that we have an inquiry list, that we know who is interested. That way you can follow up and call them back. Like, thank you so much for stopping by. We gave you the application on Monday. Wanted to check and see. Actually, I really don't want them to walk out without us scheduling the tour or something. I don't want to just give a packet. So let's make sure that we are capturing all of the leads. They're considered leads. You were interested enough to come in. Wait, hold on a second. Can I have your name, your telephone number, email address, the name and the age of your child? Because I need to know. We had 5 people this week coming for this age group. That lets me know that there's some interest in that age group, and I need to think about, okay, well, do we have any transitions that are coming up? Is that class full? Like, it gives you data. And when we're not collecting data, we're just waiting for people to come. And so we have to be more proactive now. That's a leak. When we're just waiting, we let people walk out the door. People call, phone is ringing, no one answers. That's a leak. Because somebody could have been calling. They have to get a place by Monday, and you didn't answer your phone, so they had to keep calling around, and they found somebody, and now they start there on Monday. Okay? All of those are leaks as it relates to marketing and enrollment. Okay? Is there anyone that found a leak from anything I just shared? Anything that came up for you? Yeah, Zelinda, that's a very specific question. It's not like I can't give you like an answer off the top of my head. I always have more questions. Every program is different, so that would be something we have to chat about. It's hard. Yeah. Waiting list. Hi, Nadesh. How are you? Waiting list. Absolutely. Yep, yep,
Hi,
yep.
everyone. Good evening.
Hi. Yes. Response time. Yes. Leak after leak after leak. Yeah, yeah, yep. But we're talking about it for the very reason. So I'm bringing this stuff up again, not to make anybody feel bad, but like to be like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that. Sometimes we did it for years. We gave out applications. I remember feeling like, ooh, we gave out all the applications. Now we're waiting for the phone to ring. That's crazy. That is crazy. We need to have some names, telephone numbers. Just a note too, something new that we're about to do. Maybe you guys do it. I don't know, but I realize we have graduated so many children. We have had families that may have moved. We just had so many inquiries. I'm like, why should we just stop and not follow up with these people? How come we don't have this continual community that we send out emails and notices to? Not saying that we're going to send it every week, but what if we have a monthly newsletter? Here's what's going on at Bustleton. Who do you know? You got a cousin? Did you have another baby? But here's what's going on, right? We have community events. We have space rental, right? Soon we're going to be doing our carnival at the end of the year, we can invite all of our families back. Let's just stay connected. So I say all that to say, yeah, we may have serviced you 2 years ago. That don't mean that we can't still have a relationship. I still want you to stay connected with us because maybe your sister is having a baby. I want you to just remember that we are here. I want you to remember all the work that we're doing. We're even talking about doing an alumni program where we follow up with our kids and we want to know what they're doing because that's data too. I want to be able to say, I want to be able to have the specific number of how many kids we've served over X number of years. And I want to say, this is the impact that we've had. Here's how many families we've served. Here's how many families we helped find employment. Here's how many families we allowed to go to work. Here's the companies that our families worked at. Like, data is so powerful. And so even when we start to advocate, we can let our legislators know, let me tell you how many families we have impacted here, how many children learned how to read. We can follow up with the schools they went to. So just, I can go on and on. I get excited about that stuff. So I'm going to stop there. Um, yes, yes, Antoinette, the paperwork online. We are still doing some electronic stuff and figuring out how we can streamline. Absolutely. That's a whole other conversation. Okay. All right. Let's pause and let's do the calculation. Guys, I always like to make sure we do some action work. Pull out your numbers. It's fairly easy. If you haven't already, you can share it in the chat or we can even have somebody come up and we kind of work through it because I want to make sure you know how to do this on your own. And so I'm going to give a minute or two and then I'm going to pull up the calculator too. I mentioned to Antoinette and just kind of show something I created to help with this. So I'm going to give a minute. And as soon as you finish, if you want to pop it in the chat, or if you have a question, pop it in the chat. And I might be able to pull somebody up so we can talk it through. All right, let's do that for 1 minute. And I'm going to stop sharing a second so I can find this calculator. All right. Anybody have anything? Oh, there we go. All right. Thank you. All right. 14 kids, 290. Large child care, 14. Okay, so those are your numbers. Were you able to put that in and kind of see if you had a leak? Oh, Antoinette did all the numbers. There we go. There we go. Is that, Antoinette, is that your leak? The number that you put in there, the 546?
That's the leak. That's what I could be if I could fill my seats. That's just the top leak. We ain't talking about the nighttime leak. The
That's
nighttime.
not the nighttime.
So, I got unhungry, but I'm getting hungry now.
Okay. Listen, that's the whole point of it. That's the point. It's like, wait, wait, wait. And it really just helps us shift our energy. It's like, honestly, when I feel hurt by something, I want my team to feel it too. I'll be like, we gonna have a meeting. I need y'all to know. Actually, I would probably share that number with staff because I want them to understand because they can be a part of us enrolling and kind of sharing and all that stuff because I want them to see that by us having this leak, here's all the things that we're not able to do. And if we're able to fill the leak, even 20%, we might be able to provide health insurance. Just by filling it 20%, we might be able to do bonuses. Like if they see themselves in it, they can support us in filling it. So I love that you did that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. I'm not sure your name. It just says iPhone. iPhone said they don't have any leaks. That's what I'm talking. Well, huge congrats. Huge congrats to you. I'm gonna share this really fast. This is what, let's see. This is what the calculator was doing, and Antoinette, this is what it should do. I wanted it to be an easy way. You can see my screen. So this is the revenue leak calculator. So it basically allows you to put your numbers in there. Just, I'm gonna put the numbers as an example. So if you had a license capacity of 60 and you have 48 enrolled, your weekly rate is $285. It's basically telling you you have 12 seats empty at 80% capacity. Here's the revenue you have. Here's how much you could have, and here's your annual leap. And it goes on and on.
No,
So
that
that's
did
what
work. I did get that worked, but when I went to the Iron Triangle worksheet,
in within here.
I don't know. I know I saved it. Maybe once I saved it, it didn't work anymore. But I did this. I did this.
Okay, so this worked.
Mhm.
All right, I'll test it too, just to make sure as we go through. So basically, this is what I gave VIP so that they can actually see their money leaks from all across the board. Like, what is your possible area of leak, all that stuff. And that way, again, the purpose is, well, let me see where I need to tighten this up at. And so Antoinette now can walk away, just kind of have an idea as focusing on enrollment. Again, I'm not saying it's an easy answer, but that's where the energy and the time goes and the creative strategies and the conversations with the team. Like I would totally look at my marketing or sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's the industry. Sometimes it's the neighborhood. One of my neighborhoods, it changed. It used to have a lot of families that stayed for a year because maybe they had a lease for a year or something like that, or they were buying their home. Now it is not the same. I feel like people are moving in and out. I think they have a different level of Section 8. So the neighborhood has changed. So now we got to approach it a little differently. So just think about what happened over the last year or two that changed around your community. And you might have to have conversations. You might have to get out in the community. Like your business is telling you something. It's just pay attention to that thing, right? And I probably would just shift how I'm spending my time as the owner and start focusing on that leak so we can get that money. Okay. All right. Oh, hey, Jacqueline, how are you? How are you? Thank you for sharing who you were because all I saw was a iPhone. All right. All right. Let me bring the ah. Now I got it. I have 5,000 tabs. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Moving right along. Let me share my screen again. Oh, you have your hand raised? Is that you, Jacqueline? Hey, how are you? You can unmute. Is it letting
Yeah. How is everybody?
you? How are you?
I'm good.
Hey.
I have questions because I run a home based business. It's not I don't know who's all in here. I don't know if anybody else runs a home based business, but I feel like I have an advantage because I also do financial literacy. So that's why I don't have any leaks. And I also pay all my utilities for the whole entire year in January. So when you asking all these questions, I'm like, how do I answer? How do I answer? And it's hard because I don't want nobody to think, well, why she don't have no leaks? But that's why, because I teach this. So yeah,
I
I,
got you. Nope. I remember from previous challenges. I just
yeah,
know you're savvy.
yeah,
I also love the fact that you brought up, right, and I feel like Coach Kelly, you did too. There's many of us who do more than one thing. I do too. Listen, my child care centers also are event spaces. I rent my space out,
yeah,
right? So sometimes it's being creative. It's being creative about what we're doing, our expertise. No one said we had to only do childcare. Like, we are smart people. Some of us
yeah,
have phenomenal curriculum, right? So that's a whole other conversation, but I'm glad you brought it up because we could be doing more than one thing at one time. Because
yeah,
surely my classrooms and my building is empty in the evenings and weekends. By all means, I'm trying to make money,
that's
right, while it's empty. So
and
thank you.
if you have the opportunity to the other ladies, if you can do like transportation for children that's not in your daycare, that's extra money because I do that too. I take kids in the neighborhood that goes to the same schools that I already go to, and I charge, and they pay. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
Being creative.
yeah,
Thank you.
and
And
that'll
thank
take
you
up
for
a slot
joining us.
for a kid that you may be missing.
Absolutely. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right. And I think that's a part of the being creative, like we're talking, and not sitting back and waiting. I'd say that a lot. Like, sometimes it's just like the money isn't enough and money isn't enough. And it isn't. But we do have to get out there and do something different. Like we do. Look, so now everybody, I want everybody to share. If you're doing something else, let us know. Because I want to encourage maybe someone who just didn't know. Like, I didn't even think about that. Right? Mercedes is a trainer and CDA PD specialist.
that's what's up.
Uh,
And I
Nadej Designs, she has a party house. So even if somebody mentions something, you're like, message them. Okay? There we go. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Jacqueline. All right. There we go. All right, let me get back in there. Such a great point. That's a whole other conversation. I feel like that's not talked about enough either, right? Because I think we also can be doing some other things that we love to do. I love coaching and consulting. I still run my child care centers. I tell you that. Okay. Um, so we kind of did this. We just did this. This is just testing out your iron triangle, running your own numbers. Everyone seems okay with doing that. So where's your money hiding? It's a couple other leaks that I'm going to share with you. Um, Underpriced rates, we talked about that. So do your true cost of care, calculate how much money it actually takes you to run your programs. I'll give you a quick, it's not as accurate, but I'll just give you a general idea of how you can just see if your the revenue is covering your expenses. You can just calculate all of your revenue and you can calculate all of your expenses from your bank statement last month and divide it by the number of I don't like to do it by children enrolled. I really like to do it by capacity and just divide it, and it will just give you a high level number. There's a whole process for it that I do with my inner circle and my clients. But if you just want to know, well, how do I start? You can start there. Okay. Yes, yes, not just start for it. Yes, yes, yes. And you're talking about increasing your rate now that you're star four. Well, you will get more money. I think that's what you're saying. Yes, okay. Subscriptions you're not using. When I tell you this right here is a leak, go through your bank statements for the past year and take a look at what subscriptions you have that's on auto pay that you're not using, that you could just cancel. The average childcare program pays $340 per month for tools that they use partially or not at all. Not too long ago, I teach this, but I totally missed it. I'm like, where did this $800 auto payment come from? Totally. I used to use Active Campaign. I don't anymore. And I kept saying, I'm going to cancel it. I just don't want to lose all my email list. Never did it. $830 wasted. And that's just one subscription. So go through and look at what are you still paying for? And you might just be able to cancel it. That might be $500 per month that you're about to save. Okay. Unfilled flex slot. So maybe you have transitional hours, right? You might be able to, this is just a strategy. It could fit for somebody. Maybe there's children who come half the day. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Most of our children, we have 158 children that are in my building, pre-K only. They're going at 2:30. I already know that we have a huge opportunity for a large school age program. The longer it takes me to launch that, honestly, I'm losing money. I can jump on that and truly put a launch together, an initiative. It's a little hard, I'm going to be honest, because our school districts are offering free aftercare and summer camp. So they are my competition right now. But I have a huge opportunity to fill my program all over again between 3 and 6. So maybe you have that opportunity in your program. Antoinette mentioned she has night care. I don't know if that's a right fit for you or not, but just think about where you have money opportunities that you're not tapping into. Premium service add-ons. Maybe you are a STEM genius. Listen, your degree might be in science, technology, arts, whatever. Think about just like Ms. Jacqueline was just sharing, you might have something that you can add as a premium service and have an add-on. Our kids have birthday parties at our center all the time, not during the day, but they're like, can we rent the space? I'd be like, yes, you can. They have parties, weddings, funerals, repasts, graduation parties, prom send-offs, all the things. I actually have another money leak. I really should be advertising for our space rental because I'm wasting money. Matter of fact, I'm going to send that to somebody else. But think about all the things that you could be doing. You might not have a whole full-size gym like I have. You might have a room that's just really nice. Matter of fact, if you have an empty room, maybe it's not open right now. I don't know. Do people in your community need a space? Does an organization near you need an office space, a rental space in the evenings? They have organization meetings. I don't know. But get out in the community, find out. Maybe that's something you could do. Listen, that promoting in some space, if you have space, rent it out. People are looking for it. I don't know if you guys see, I did a photo shoot not too long ago. People rent out their spaces all the time, just for photo shoots, for podcasts, spaces, all kinds of stuff. So just think about what you could be doing. It may or may not be childcare related. All right. All right, we're coming to a close. Stop waiting for families to find you. Here's 3 things every enrollment system needs and how they work together. Not every family is your family. Sometimes we might have to filter out because I mentioned earlier, there's times that we're just wanting to appease all families and they may not be a fit. I had a conversation with a client who was saying that she had a number of early family when she first opened. They were coming in and they paid below the rate, almost nothing. And at some point it was like they are just not a good fit for who we are because all the other families value the program and they pay. So she did end up like letting them go. And that was 2 spots that could be filled by paying families. So basically, see if you need to just filter out maybe the old families that you used to serve, and maybe the area, your community changed, and you just really need to remarket and filter. That's for whoever that fits for. If it doesn't, no problem. Have a clear call to action as you're looking to enroll and market. What do you want them to do? Are you increasing your presence on social media? Are you, kind of doing TikToks? What do you want them to do after they finish watching? Call for a tour? Email this number? Put enrollment below and you'll contact them. Like, let people know what you want them to do. And have a 48-hour follow-up funnel. I'm going to be honest, I really want that to be 24 hours. 24 hours, if that. Maybe you have somebody check it by the end of the day. Double check the messages. Did anybody call? Did we miss a call we didn't know and they left a message inquiring? We do have an auto inquiry that we get messages all the time. Someone is interested and we ask them all the pertinent information. Guys, you can do that through Google form. It's free. Create a Google form, have a link and let people inquire. their name, telephone number, email, child's name, date of birth. That's enough for you to say, oh, you know what? We have space in the infant room. Somebody just contact, let me call them back right away during break time. Let me call them before I go. So make sure you're following up. People are calling, we're missing the calls, or I'm just going to add that in there. Maybe you have somebody answering the phone or at the front desk they shouldn't be, because you're losing families because they answered the phone rude, or they came in and they didn't even greet them. That's another thing. Just make sure you have the right people in the space where you are looking to connect with people for the first time, because it matters. You can't manage what you don't measure. I'm not going to read through all of them. These are examples of expense leaks. I mentioned a number of them. Double check your bank statements, see if they're accurate. Double check some of your income sources, right? What's the percentage of private tuition, the percentage of subsidy? Are you tapping into grants and public funding? I actually have a surprise session tomorrow. Speaking of which, do you have premium services that you're getting paid for? I started tracking how much rental space money we were bringing in, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm telling you, once we see the numbers, either they scare us and we take action, or they surprise us. I was like, oh, that's how much we made off of just renting our space out. It'll surprise you. So look at your numbers, manage and measure all of the information. We do the same thing for our children. When they're not hitting their milestones, we're like, oh, wait a minute, we got to tighten up the lesson plan. The assessment numbers aren't right. What's going on with our teachers? We do that on the children's side. Let's do it for our business. Are we doing fundraisers and events? My summer camp team, they're already looking at their fundraisers, because if the kids want to go on the trips and if we want to do these particular things, we're starting to do some other activities just to kind of relieve the stress from families too, because they don't necessarily have to come out of pocket for everything. They can fundraise or do whatever if they want this experience. So, all right. Then we want to talk about, I do actually want to talk about the plan too, because I actually have a shift for tomorrow night. I'll tell y'all about after the homework. Complete your the revenue calculator if you have that. Wait, did I have to drop the free gift because y'all stayed to the end. I have to see. Adrian, do you have the link for what we're giving tonight? If you could drop it in the link in the chat. Post in school one change you're going to make in your revenue process. Like one thing you're going to do different. Okay? And then comment on someone else's post. The more that we put things out there, that's accountability. All right? The fact that some people stepped up today and they shared, that was a level of accountability. And sometimes when we're in silos and we're by ourselves, we're struggling by ourselves. Okay? And then I want you to identify your number one leak type. Was it enrollment, rate, collection, staffing? This is exactly the lens that we want to look at. All right. So for those who stay to the end, I always, I've been giving something free. So check the resource page in there. Yeah, get a lawn sign. There we go. Look at that. All you got to do is get a lawn sign, put that up, let people know you're enrolling. And I know Nadej has a home program. And so that works wonders. Okay. Yep. So that's what you're going to get the toolkit so you can actually check there. I do want to share, I'm probably going to share it via email because I have a new surprise for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to share something different. I'm going to switch this up a little bit, so I'll let you guys know. I'm going to share some behind the scenes of one of our experience events, and it's a whole session on grants and AI. So we talked about revenue leaks today. And sometimes, again, you may be walking away like, I need more money. I had one of a specialist come in and kind of teach us. She's a grant specialist and a AI specialist, and she does government grants in funding. And she did it specifically for childcare owners. So I am going to run that tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm going to do a special session on Friday where we get to wrap it up. I have something to really share special. I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to continue community. Usually I am sharing all about my inner circle, which is my high level coaching, but I actually want to do something where it's more membership based, where we could do this every month. Every month I share something new. I give resources. I make stuff all the time. I have a huge library and I want to continue the community and the membership opportunity. So I'm going to share that with you. Okay. Oh, Tree said unauthorized overtime. There we go. Uh, all right. So we are going to start wrapping up. Any questions before we end? No, y'all have your homework. Everybody's good. You have your numbers. All right. And you have your free gift. We're going to wrap that up there. Thank y'all for another, for being with me again tonight. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right. Keep an eye out for your, oh, time space percentage. That's a good one. Thank y'all for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we are ending it off 8:19, and check your email. The link will be in there tomorrow. It is so good. Make sure you tap in. There's a resource in everything. So if you are not tapping into AI or grants, we're definitely going to show you how to get some money. Okay. All right. Have a good night.